All right, so lesson 2-3 has to do with adding and subtracting decimals. Now, the only thing that we really have to review before we jump into adding and subtracting decimals is if we have a statement such as 1,234 plus 789, we always try to line these up vertically, which means we stack them on top of each other. Now, you don't go in and stack anything like this. That's not how we stack the numbers. We use their place values to help us figure out where we need to add things. So this is wrong. So we go ahead and we write 1,234 and we go, well, this is the ones place, so that's going to go with the ones. This is in the tens place, that goes with the tens. This is in the hundreds place, so that goes with the hundreds. And when we finally add, we end up looking at it like this. We go 4 ones plus 9 ones is 13 ones. And then we go, well, we can't put 2 numbers in our ones place. So we actually regroup the 1 because we know that 1 is really a 10. So now we have an extra 10 that we have to account for when we add. Now we have 8 tens plus 3 tens plus 1 more 10, which is going to be 12 tens. You go, okay, well, if I have 12 tens, I can't put them all in here. So I'm going to regroup one of those tens. And that one group of 10 tens that we just regrouped is actually 100. So now we have 700s plus 200s plus 100. So 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 1 more is another 10. We have another 2 digits that we have to fix. And we go, well, can't put that 10 there, so I'm going to regroup that 10 over here. So now those 10 hundreds is really 1,000. So we have 1,000 plus 1,000, which is 2,000. And that's how we add numbers generally with adding and subtracting whole numbers. We use their place values to line them up, and that's the big part that I want you to remember for this next section. Let me clear this. When we add and subtract decimals, we do something very similar. So let's take the number 2.34 plus 56.7. 2 and 34 hundredths plus 56 and 7 tenths. We still follow the exact same rules. We have to line these up using their place values. Except this time with a decimal, we have an added bonus that helps us line things up. We have a decimal. So I have my 2 and 34 hundredths written down here. I have a decimal point in 56 and 7 tenths. So I can take that decimal and use it to my advantage. I know that the 7 is going to go here because that's the tenths place. And I know the 56 is going to go here because the 6 is in the ones place, the 5 is in the tens place. I'm going to do what I did back when I was comparing fractions or rounding. I'm going to fill in a 0 to make a nice box shape, just to keep it nice and consistent. Now I can go ahead and add these. And the addition step is going to be the exact same thing as if you were adding whole numbers. We're going to go 4 hundredths plus 0 hundredths. That's just 4. We're going to add 3 tenths with 7 tenths. That's going to be 10 tenths, which we know is really 1 whole. Bring your decimals straight down. And then we go 6 ones plus 2 ones plus 1 1 is going to be 9 ones. And then 0 ones plus 5 ones is going to be 5 ones. So when we add decimals, all we're doing is lining them up by their decimal place and then adding, as we would normally add whole numbers. So when we added 2 and 34 hundredths with 56 and 7 tenths, we got 59 and 4 hundredths. Now, nothing changes when we're subtracting. Let's try to go ahead and subtract 5, take away 2 and 34 thousandths. Now, this is a little bit different because now we're looking at a whole number taking away a decimal number. Well, if we have 5 wholes, we need to think, how do I subtract 2 and 34 thousandths? Well, I know that in a whole number, there actually is a decimal. We just don't need to use it. We know that in a whole number, the decimal is always at the very right of the number. Now that we have a decimal with our whole number, we can actually line it up pretty easily. we can say, well, we can put a decimal here, and to the left is the ones place, so that's where our 2's going to go. And then we have a 0, 3, and 4. Now, I'm going to fill in some zeros as placeholders, and I'm going to start subtracting. 0 take away 4. Logically, if I think about it, if I have 0 things, I can't take away 4 more. So I need to borrow from its neighbor to the left. But I can't, because the neighbor to the left is also broke. So that neighbor needs to borrow from its neighbor, who's also broke. So that neighbor is going to say, I really need help. So it's going to borrow from the ones. If you take the ones, you leave 4 ones. And then 4 ones becomes 10 tenths. Now, this neighbor can finally borrow. He's like, oh, my neighbor just got paid. I can borrow from them. So it's going to take a tenth. And that's going to become 9 tenths. And this will become 10 hundredths. And now this neighbor can finally say, oh, I'm going to borrow from them now. So they have 9 hundredths left. And now we have 10 thousandths. So 10 thousandths take away 4 is 6. 9 hundredths take away 3 is 6. 9 take away nothing is 9. Bring your decimals straight down. And then 4 ones take away 2 ones is 2.